Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Robot Wars Reborn Cup. Feels like it's been only yesterday that we saw Storm 2 and Can Opener duke it out for the championship in what was their second match in that grand final episode, where of course it was Can Opener taking the Season 2 title. But no, it's been about a year, and it's time to do it all over again. Those two, plus the other 78 bots from Season 2 are ready to go, plus 16 newcomers looking to make a good case on why they should be the next champion. I can't wait to get this season started, and I know someone else that's looking forward to it just as much as I am. Back again this year, our lovely co-host, Rich BattleBots Boy. Rich, welcome. Good to see you again.
Thanks very much, Nick. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new season of the Robot Wars Reborn Cup. It's so great to be back. I can't wait to see some more wanton destruction coming our way, and I know you guys are looking forward to that as well. And as we take our first steps into the new season, there are 3 questions that are pretty much on everybody's mind at this very moment. Who will be our new champion? Who will beat our current champion, Can Opener? And most importantly, who framed Roger Rabbit? So those 3 questions shall be answered along with many more questions as we fire up the first round of the first heat.
Well, I'm glad to see Rich is also excited, but before we get into the first fights of this year's competition, we need to make note of a couple important changes that are happening in this year's tournament that'll also apply across the board in other competitions that we host on this channel. The first is that there's a new build rule. It's called the stacking rule. Basically, now spinners can't have their teeth or their weapon in general stacked as we've seen in the past. Some vertical spinners, let's say, would have 2 motors on either side that would then meet with a disc and some teeth in the middle, and we've seen how that can be an overpowered setup by force. So that now is a rule that can't be done. The rule extends to the amount of teeth you put on a bot in general. If you're a spinner that has 2 teeth placements, you can stack that doubled, so you could have 4 teeth total, but no more. And if you're a spinning robot that maybe has 4 placements of teeth, you get 1 round of stack. So 4 total teeth. This rule will hopefully keep things balanced throughout the competition and close the gap that we're starting to see widen even more between the spinners and the non-spinners. We like to keep it a little friendly and a little fair here. The other new thing that's changed this year is there is a new piece that'll be tested. It's called the Rocket Booster. The Rocket Booster has 2 great purposes that's going to help build quality in the future. The first is that it can be used in full body spinners to make it look like the shell of the bot is actually spinning while they can still move around the arena. And the second use is for bots that are a little bit heavier. Instead of stacking the wheels, we can now put in these rocket boosters, which will allow for a little more pace while still being fair in the sense that if there's an exposed wheel and you knock it off, that's it. There is no stacked second wheel. The 2 bots that are going to be testing out these 2 theories are the Revolutionist and the Steel Avenger. Now, neither the Revolutionist nor the Steel Avenger will actually be competing tonight, so you'll have to keep an eye out for them in future heats. But for now, I think we've tackled enough of the boring crap, and I think it's time to get into some robot fighting. So, without waiting any longer, let's go back to Rich to see how Heat A's Round 1 lines up.
So, here's the lineup of the first round for Heat A, featuring the number 3 seed Carbide, who made the grand final last season. He'll be taking on Splinter. And we got Smithy returning, hoping to get past the first hurdle this time around, but first he'll have to get past the Razor Sharp Razer. Also looking to push past the first hurdle is Push to Exit. He'll be facing newcomer Bonk. But up first, we got a matchup between Tornado and Diotor, a rematch from Robot Wars Series 5. Let's see how things unfold as we let the wars begin!
From Soar Tree in Cambridgeshire, Tornado.
Tornado has returned after a lackluster performance last season, barely getting by Gabriel in the first round before being knocked out by Wildfane. He's got interchangeable weapons with the wedge and the spinning disc. This match he's going in with the wedge. Will that work out in his favor?
From Dublin, Diotor.
Another returning competitor from last season, Diotor made the Heat Final, being taken out by Eruption after a close matchup. There he's looking to go one step further this time around. time to test out his Lucky Charms. They're magically delicious.
Robot Wars, stand by. 3, 2, 1.
And we are underway with the first match of the new season of the Robot Wars Reborn Cup, as both robots charge head-on, not once but twice. Neither one have the better wedge advantage here, it seems like. But Tornado using brute force to overturn Diotor. Can Diotor use that lifter to right himself? I'm not sure if he can. Tornado going for the pit release button straight away. Have another look. Tornado ramming into Diotor and toppling him up and over. Diotor does not have a very powerful weapon capable of turning him back over should he get flipped. Well, Diotor is now back over with some help from Tornado, who tried to drive Diotor into the pit, but Diotor escapes at the last second. Diotor got some catching up to do after being flipped over by Tornado. Tornado is looking to get around to the side of Diotor and avoid that lifter, but Diotor does not want to end up on his back, or worse yet, in the pit of Oblivion. Tornado gets under Diotor again and drives him into an angle grinder. That was a nice move there by Tornado as he's trying to line up Diotor toward the pit, but again, Diotor spins right out of it. Tornado put Diotor on the flame jet. At least Diotor doesn't have actual fur on him like he does in real life. Otherwise, he would have been set ablaze. Diotor with a nice slam on the side of Tornado, but could not quite get underneath him. Tornado going in for another attack, and he flipped Diotor over yet again. Diotor might be in big trouble as Tornado's got Diotor lined up toward the pit. Have another look, Diotor turned over, and this time it looked like it was Diotor's fault that he got flipped up and over as he was overturned by his own charge attack against Tornado, who now pushes Diotor toward the pit, and Diotor pulls himself in instead. Tornado takes the victory. Well, it's sad to see Diotor go out this early in the competition. No heat final for him this time. Tornado going through. And next up we have Push to Exit versus Bonk.
From Mablethorpe, Lincolnshire, Push to Exit.
Push to Exit has returned after losing to Wild Thing in the first round last season, with a much better look overall with an improved wedge design and front hinge flipper. Can those improvements help him push his way through to the next round and beyond?
From Stoke-on-Trent, Bonk.
Bonk is a brand new machine armed with an overhead axe that doubles as a self-righting mechanism, a very powerful, albeit flimsy weapon. Let's see how things will turn out for him here in his first ever Robot Wars Reborn Cup appearance.
Robot Wars, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
And we are underway with our second match of the opening round with Flipper versus Hammer, as the Flipper scores first blood, turning Bonk up and over. Bonk using that hammer to right himself after this attack from Push to Exit, using that front hinge Flipper to overturn the opposition. Bonk driving up the wedge of Push to Exit, but is able to escape before Push to Exit could get another flip in. Bonk with a swing and a miss. The two robots are now colliding head-on. Bonk going up the wedge of Push to Exit and escaping yet again. Swing and a miss. Bonk, as of this moment, had not landed a hit on Push to Exit. Well, now that I said that, he gets a hit right there. As Push to Exit pushes Bonk towards the pit release button and flips him over yet again. And Bonk, it looked like, might be in the worst position possible after that flip from Push to Exit. Bonk now on his back with his hammer fully extended. Can he right himself? Bonk getting a little bit of assistance from Push to Exit, or perhaps Push to Exit might be attempting to throw Bonk out of the arena. I'm not sure if he has enough power behind that flipper to throw him over and out. Bonk is now being counted out as he is lacking the strength behind that hammer to turn himself back up and over onto his wheels on his own. Bonk being counted out as Push to Exit, wait by the drop zone, and gets peppered by bowling balls in celebration. So, Push to Exit scores his first ever win as Bonk atomic punched out of the competition. Say goodbye to your kneecap, chucklehead. Next up we have Smidsy up against Razer.
From Manston in Kent, Smidsy.
Smidzy is another returning competitor, knocked out in the first round by the Season 1 champ Supernova last time. He's got the flipper at the front, the spinner at the rear. His name, as you all know, stands for Sorry Mate, I Didn't See You, and he's hoping to say that a lot and go all the way in this competition.
From Bournemouth and Dorset, Razer.
Razer returns and has been rebuilt from last season, and look at his overall record, 7-21. That's totally inaccurate for a robot that's meant to replicate one of the greatest robots of all time. But it'd be totally accurate if that greatest robot of all time had some actual competition. Burn!
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1.
Let's begin.
And we begin the second half of the opening round with Smidzy up against the might of Razer. Smidzy being on the attack, showing some aggression as he turns Razer up and over with that lifter. Can Razer get back on his wheels? Yes, he can, only to land on top of Smidzy, who is still under Razer, looking to go in for another flip, and can't quite pull it off there. Well, I take that back. He had turned Razer over on his back again. Both robots driving over the arena flipper. Smidzy scoring the first attack here with that lifter, toppling Razer over not once but twice as Razer finally gets a bite down with that grabber on the top of Smidzy, doing superficial damage but scoring points as Smidzy comes in with the lifter again, trying to turn Razer over for the third time, but Razer is able to slip away and get that beak facing towards Smidzy, who bails for the pit release button. Razer making haste, chasing after Smidzy, but Smidzy is able to hold his ground, fires the flipper and misses, as Razer is trying to get to the side of Smidzy, trying to avoid that flipper, or just go at him head on. That works too. I mean, it's definitely working out for him as he's able to grab the hold of the lifter of Smidzy. Razer showing no fear, biting down on the lifter of Smidzy, scoring some points and dishing out some damage. Razer underneath the front of Smidzy again, biting down on the wedge, going nom 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 on his opponent. Razer over the flame jet as well, as a piece came off of somebody. Was that from Razer? Was that damage caused by the flame jet? Might have been, as Smidzy is struggling to escape the grasp of Razer as he continued biting down on his opponent, going for the wheel. Smidzy now smoking, and we're all choking, and I'm not joking. Razer going in for the kill, and he does so. Smidzy has been finished off, and Razer is going through after this final assault right here on Smidzy. Well done, Razer. Well, unfortunately for Smidzy, he falls in the first round yet again. Sorry, mate, I do say yay for Razer, who is through to round 2. And wrapping up round 1 are the 3rd seed Carbide and Splinter.
From Derby, the number 3 seed, Carbide.
Carbide is back as the number 3 seed. He won the wild card last season after his heat final fiasco against Tough as Nails, but he's looking to leave all that behind and focus on his future, and he is hoping that his future sees him going home with the trophy.
From Norwich, Splinter.
And we have our final competitor to appear in this opening heat. Splinter lost in the first round to Panic Attack last season with a double grabbing arm and the overhead axe. Can he make up for his first round defeat? Well, given his opponent, I'd say that might be highly unlikely.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
So, word of warning, guys, you might want to avert your eyes because this could get ugly pretty fast, and not the way I was hoping. Carbide just lost his weapon! Not 10 seconds into the match, and Splinter just snapped his main weapon off! And all of a sudden, the number 3 seed is on the razor's edge! Carbide, no weapon, no way to defend himself, and Splinter had done it! Do mine eyes deceive me? This is the first heat of the new season, and we are already in the presence of a major cup set, folks. Carbide, the number 3 seed, out in the first round. No wild card to save him this time, as Splinter takes the final spot in the second round, along with Razer, Push to Exit, and Tornado. Wow! So anyway, here's how they're lined up for round 2. We got Razer drawn up against Splinter, but up first we shall see Tornado face Push to Exit.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
So Tornado is going into this fight with its wedge setup, just like he did in his previous match against Diotor. Is that wise though? Because if Tornado gets turned over by the flipper up Push to Exit, he could end up in trouble with that wedge being high up in the air. That will leave him vulnerable. Tornado going for the pit release button as Push to Exit gets in behind Tornado and gets under. Not with the wedge though, that was peculiar. Tornado getting to the side of Push to Exit. You gotta be careful not to get up on that wedge or else he could end up getting flipped. Tornado got Push to Exit pinned into the CPZ. Push to Exit trying to get off. Can he get off? Yes, he can. He's spun off and he's away, but only momentarily as Tornado goes in for another attack to pin Push to Exit into the corner. Push to Exit not able to do much as he is continuously getting bullied by Tornado after this little onslaught right here. Tornado getting under his opponent and smacking him into the corner. Tornado seems to have the better wedge between the two, getting under Push to Exit as they drive head on, not once but twice into each other. Push to Exit firing the flipper twice. Absolutely nothing happened. Push to Exit now free from the grasp of Tornado's wedge. Grasp of Tornado's wedge. That makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Both bots collide head on, but not much happened there. Push to Exit is falling behind on points. You gotta come up with a strategy. You gotta get under Tornado and score a flip in to make that wedge completely useless and to leave Tornado vulnerable for some more attacks. Tornado back and toward the flame pit. You gotta watch out. He does not want to burn. Push to Exit trying to get around to the side of Tornado, but is unsuccessful in doing so. It's Tornado who's on the side of Push to Exit instead, pushing him around some more. Tornado with another attack, but Push to Exit got the wedge facing towards him just in the nick of time, preventing him from getting under once more. And as I say that, Tornado is able to get under Push to Exit anyway as he goes over the flame jet. Tornado with another body slam there on Push to Exit and tilting himself forward. You gotta be careful. He did not want to flip himself over like what happened with Diotor in the first round when Tornado met up with him. Push to Exit underneath Tornado, but Tornado able to drive off with ease. Push to Exit now chasing after Tornado, trying to play catch up on points. Tornado under Push to Exit with the wedge again, and again getting under him, and he drives him into the wall near an angle grinder, and he's remaining under Push to Exit, pushing him toward the CPZ. Tornado with a nice slam there, scoring some more points with the judges. Should this fight go the distance? Push to Exit not really able to do much. He hasn't even scored a single flip this entire match as we wind down the closing seconds of this bout. It looks like it is going to go the distance after all, as Tornado goes for one final drive, driving Push to Exit into the wall and out of the arena, but right after cease has been called, Push to Exit saved by the bell, and it goes to the judges. Well, despite the fact that Push to Exit was thrown out of the arena at the end, it still goes to the judges, who will mark points on the 4 key factors: damage, aggression, strategy, and control. And let me tell you, this one was a no-brainer. Based on a sheer dominant performance throughout the entire 3 minutes of the battle, Tornado had been declared the win by a unanimous decision, and Push to Exit had been shown the exit by Tornado, who was storming on through to the heat final. And now for the second half of round 2, we have Razer against Splinter.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
So it's 3 spikes against 1. Will that be the deciding factor? We shall see what kind of damage these two can do. Razer took quite a while to take out Smithy, while Splinter wasted no time at all, taking out the number 3 seed Carbide, and Splinter with the first strike right there, taking off pieces of Razer's wedge already, as Razer is unable to reach out with that spike. Splinter doing all the early damage with his grabbing arm, taking off pieces of that wedge and the wheel guard as well. Razer is now smoking. He is in trouble already, as Splinter is looking to go in for another KO, and he is seeing a path to the heat final, and that path is opening up for him, and that path is now completely open, as Splinter had destroyed Razer in a blink of an eye, and is through to the heat final. And so, after 6 matches, we now have our 2 remaining robots, and it's a pair that I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't expect. It's Tornado and Splinter who are going to do battle for the first spot in the series semifinals. Back to you, Nick.
So, it is almost time for the heat final between Tornado and not Carbide. It's actually Splinter who made the heat final, and I bet nobody would have predicted that. Splinter last year lost in his first match in the heat, losing to Panic Attack. He got knocked out. I think he even got pitted, if I remember correctly. So, I don't know if the matchup was bad for him, or if Panic Attack just did a really good job of managing Splinter. Because this is the same exact build. He's not stacked. Trust me, we checked every bot before competing to make sure they abided by the new rules, and Splinter didn't need any changes. So I really don't know what's going on with this machine, but whatever he did in the offseason is working great, because now he's just upset 2 former real-life champions, including the number 3 seed Carbide, who was heavily expected to get back to the grand final. He's done now. That's it. Carbide is done. Now, how does this heat final look? I don't know. I just don't know what Tornado would be able to do against Splinter. Splinter looks very, very tough, and he's even got ground clearance to boot. Rich, what do you think? Do you think Splinter's going to just walk through this thing?
Thanks, Nick. So, our first heat final of the new season is all set, with Tornado against Splinter. And it pretty much makes sense that Tornado would make it this far, given that he had a couple of easy opponents with Diotor and Push to Exit. But Splinter, on the other hand, I mean, really? Splinter of all things? I, as well as a lot of people I'm sure, all thought that he was going to be basic cannon fodder like he was last season. But with a quick KO over the 3rd seed Carbide as well as Razer, his performance this season is a far cry from his previous performance, and he had proven to be a very potent and lethal opponent. And so far, we've only seen Tornado use his wedge design. We haven't seen him use the spinner yet, and I think he might go with that configuration against Splinter. Maybe he'll rip his arms off or cause some serious damage to his chassis overall. But in my honest opinion, I don't think it matters what weapon configuration Tornado is going to go with, because I think Splinter got another trick up his sleeve, and he'll end up taking the first spot in the series semifinals. Is that going to happen? There's only one way to find out. Let's go to the arena for the heat final.
Tornado. Splinter.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1.
So Tornado is once again going in with the wedge setup and reversing into the pit release button. Could he sense danger up ahead? I was expecting him to go with a spinner for this match against Splinter, but no matter. Splinter senses blood, and he is out for it, and he has already taken off a large chunk, 2 large chunks of Tornado's wedge, and he is still swinging away like a boxer in a boxing ring. Splinter going in with those grabbers, taking off the left side of the wedge, and then the right side as well. Tornado with a body slam there, and he ends up losing more of his wedge, courtesy of those grabbers of Splinter. Tornado now finally underneath Splinter, pushes him into the sidewall, but not with a lot of force, not enough to turn him over or send him reeling out of the arena. Tornado in desperation mode right now, desperate to avoid taking any more damage. So he's holding Splinter over the flame pit, but backs away. He can only hold his opponent for 10 seconds, and then you must release. Splinter hot under the collar, but only for a moment, and Splinter does not like that. He is angry, and he is going to make Tornado pay for holding him over the barbecue pit. And Tornado is now almost completely weaponless. The buoy came down from the drop zone for some odd reason, and it bounces into the pit, or rather around the pit. I thought it was going to go in the pit, but no matter. What does matter, though, is that Tornado is now smoking and is on the brink of oblivion. Can Splinter go in for the kill? And the answer is yes! Splinter now has a spot in the series semifinals, and Tornado has been finished off by the likes of Splinter. Wow, talk about a Cinderella story. Splinter, after such a poor performance last season, has greatly redeemed himself with a victory over Tornado, and he is now through to the series semifinals. Can he keep up this unbelievable underdog performance here? We shall see. Nick, what do you think about this inconceivable outcome?
So there you have it, folks. It is in fact Splinter completing what has been an unbelievable accomplishment. He beat 3 former real-life champions to take an unprecedented Heat A title. He is now through to the series semifinal outright, whereas Tornado is going to have to sit and cross his fingers and hope his performances were enough to get him a wild card spot. Were they? What do you think? Have your comments below. I think he's going to be looking over his shoulder. I don't know if he did enough, I really don't. But at least he's there with a chance. Unlike Carbide! If this Heat has anything to foreshadow for us, it's that we're in for a bumpy ride this year. And expect the unexpected. I say that a lot now, but after today, I don't know what's coming next. Thank you guys for watching. Wait a minute, actually. We're not going to see you next week. We're not. What time is it? We'll see you at the end of the hour for Heat B. That's right, we're going to do a doubleheader. I'll see you guys in a bit.